Muted.
All right. We're going to let people start coming in, slowly coming in. We see them coming in. Well, it's picking up now. Okay, that's what we
Drew.
like. Okay.
There's Drew Adrian. He's on now.
I saw him. I let Drew in.
Oh, my bad.
Thank you. um, this is awesome. We're seeing all these people that's joining us. Welcome, welcome. All right, we're gonna give it like another minute or two. And this is a really good thing, but we wanna get y'all in and get y'all out. So I tried to enable the waiting room, but it didn't let me. So maybe because I'm a co-host. So I tried to do it. Ty, maybe it's gonna have to be you to enable the waiting room because I just tried and it wouldn't let me. All right.
It's not letting me disable the waiting room from
Okay.
any. You have to wait until afterwards.
Yeah, we probably have to wait till afterwards. That's okay. We'll just keep a watch out.
Sweet.
All right. So Princess and I and Ty, we all wanted to say welcome to this climate justice education meeting. We all wanted to say welcome because we're so proud of the work that Zion and Leah have done with this. And we have a special guest that's coming to join us today to tell their story of a campaign and the campaign that they're working on here in Georgia that is really amazing. So please make sure y'all stay so that y'all can hear from Renee Call I believe that is her name, and the activism that she's doing here in Decatur, Georgia, which is just absolutely amazing. And so I don't know, Ty, Princess, anything you wanted to add?
I just wanted to say that I am proud to be a part of this meeting in particular. Sorry, my kids are talking in the background. But I am just really honored to be a part of this empowerment and our Black women in the environmental justice movement. I just wanted to say thank you all. I am excited to be a part of this meeting tonight. I'm excited for the work that we've done and the movement and for us to continue this journey. So I thank you also to you, Adrian, for the just creating this pathway for all of us to be able to have this movement going and honor these women. So that's all I have. Good
All
night, everyone. Hi.
Oh, people are coming in now. Thank you.
Love it.
All right, Ty, I'm gonna hand it over to you.
Okay. I just wanted to welcome everybody. Hello. If I haven't had the pleasure to meet you yet, I'm Ty Wilson. I'm the program manager for SGF, and I'm just going to echo Princess. I'm really grateful for everyone that's here, for seeing familiar faces, for seeing some new faces, and really excited to get into this topic that's near and dear to our heart as a team on SGF that's comprised mostly of Black women and femmes. We're just super excited, and we want to let you know too, this isn't an exhaustive list of all the Black women who have worked within the environmental justice movement and defined it. But it's certainly a good overview, and I encourage you to expand your research beyond tonight. Look into who has been moving work in your area that you can support along this journey. And yeah, I'm just going to hand it over to Leah Rocha, our program manager, and Zion McThomas, our resident researcher, because they have a lot of good stuff in store for tonight. So Leah, take it away.
All right, hey everybody. Hope you guys have had a great day so far. I'm really excited to get into this presentation. As usual, we're going to start with our community agreements tonight. As we do in all our CJEMs, we'll begin with some community agreements. And we'd like to ask, what do you guys need to feel safe and heard in this space? So if you all want to take a few seconds to kind of think that through and then just either shout it out or type your answers in the chat, then we'll kind of go through some of them and establish the ground rules for tonight's conversation. And don't feel shy. We're really nice. We want to hear what you guys have to say. Right, Ty said, lead with curiosity and mutual respect, always. No toxic positivity. I think a good rule of thumb as well is like, don't yuck my yum, stay open to other people's ideas. Be genuine. I think that's a great one. Yep, don't yuck my yum. Open to learning. Empathy. That is an awesome one. I'm going to take a couple more seconds. Any last minute community agreements? Transparent behavior is awesome. Totally agree. Think respect is just kind of like a foundational one too. Respecting others. All right, these are some really good ones. So I'm gonna just list them off. Again, you guys can see it in the chat, but we're gonna lead with curiosity and mutual respect. No toxic positivity. We're gonna be genuine. We're not gonna yuck others' yum. We're gonna stay open to learning, be empathetic, be transparent, and of course, always respecting others. And with that, let's get into our agenda for tonight. So per usual, we're going to cover who is Sustainable Georgia Futures. If you've never attended a CJEM before, we're going to cover extraction versus regeneration, environmental justice in Georgia, some clean energy statistics, give you all a history lesson about some women and environmental justice. We're going to have a Q&A with Renee Kale, and then we're going to get into some next steps. Sustainable Georgia Futures is a nonpartisan grassroots organization dedicated to creating green economy pathways for Black and Brown people of color. We are a Black women-led collective of expert organizers and community leaders working to build power in Georgia's marginalized communities to advance an inclusive economy and promote environmental justice. So our mission and vision are grounded in a distinct understanding of how economic systems either contribute to or detract from societal well-being. The Climate Justice Alliance offers a valuable tool for examining these dynamics. Extractive economies mostly deplete resources, whether environmental, animal, or human, and exploit them for financial gain. The influence of extractive economic models is evident in larger oppressive systems, such as the prison industrial complex, corporate exploitation of mineral resources, rampant deforestation, and offshore oil drilling. Conversely, regenerative or living economies prioritize resource reuse and regeneration. They foster respect for both human and non-human life while safeguarding and nurturing the environment as it sustains us. Living economies prioritize reciprocity with the land and among community members. We firmly believe in the feasibility and ongoing emergence of these living economies. So let's start with an awesome quote. It's important to define what the environment actually means. I think of it as where you sleep, work, attend school, go to the hospital, shop for food. It's your entire ecosystem. If you see this as your environment, it changes what it means to be an environmentalist. And that is from Dr. McLean of Harambe House. Dr. Mildred McLean, aka Mama Bati, has 50 years of experience in the people's movement for justice and self-determination. She currently serves as the executive director of Harambe House / Citizens for Environmental Justice in Savannah, Georgia. Harambe House was founded in 1990, and they focus on community empowerment and development, and they work at local, state, regional, national, and international levels. So they've established partnerships with Department of Energy, EPA, CDC, and others to address public health and environmental justice. So no one is more prevalent in our conversation than Dr. McLean, who has been doing this work for 50 plus years and is foundational to the environmental justice work being done in Savannah. And exploring the stories of the remarkable women we've chosen to highlight today, Dr. McLean's quote emerges as central to understanding their contributions to the movement. It's important to note that these women represent just a fraction of the many dedicated individuals advancing this cause in Georgia and across the US. While we've spotlighted a few, countless women of color are actively driving the movement forward, much as they have in historic movements like the Civil Rights era. Sorry, guys, little water break. So now we're going to get into the data. E2 recently released a report on diversity in clean energy, and the results were interesting. Black people as a whole make up 13% of the US labor force, but only 8% of the clean energy force. When we go down, we look and see women of all races grouped together. While women make up nearly half of the US labor force, women only make up 27% of the clean energy force. This portion of the report doesn't break down women's statistic by race, but we can assume that for Black women, it is probably under 5% simply because Black men and women only make up 8% of the clean energy sector. This is a stark difference when we look at how non-white Hispanic males, sorry, I stuttered a little bit, how white non-Hispanic males make up 61% of the clean energy workforce. We really want to challenge the community and everyone on this call to begin to question why this data isn't readily available and push for more research in this area. When examining green jobs in the United States, the data consistently reveals a significant underrepresentation of people of color as well as women. Remarkably, the available data, like I said, lacks specific insights into the experience of Black women in the workforce, focusing primarily on women as a whole. As we delve into these stories tonight, you'll discover that Black women have not only forged opportunities for themselves, but have also stepped in out of necessity to uplift their communities. At SGF, as we strive to broaden economic prosperity for all people of color and bolster Black participation in the clean energy sector, it's essential to recognize and celebrate the trailblazers who have come before us and to reclaim our environments in a holistic manner. And now I'm going to pass it off to Zion McThomas to get us started into tonight's presentation.
Thank you, Leah, and hello, everybody. My name is Zion McThomas. I go by Z. I'm the SGF historian. My background, I just recently got my master's in history, but my background is mostly in Black Southern queer history, women and gender studies, and religious history. So you're not talking to somebody who doesn't know how to do this. All righty. So we're celebrating these wonderful, amazing Black women who have participated in the EJ movement, starting off with Hazel M. Johnson, also known as the mother of the environmental justice movement. Hazel Johnson, born Hazel Washington, was born in 1935 in New Orleans, Louisiana, in a section of the town called Cancer Alley, and we'll get more into that later. After a few family tragedies and wanting to leave the South, because this is the early 20th century and it's really hard for African Americans to maneuver and find wealth, she decides to move with her husband to Chicago in 1955, and everything is going decent. They move into this neighborhood called the Altgeld Homes. She becomes an activist in housing segregation and education for children within the Chicago area. And then out of the blue, her healthy husband, who's never smoked, never drank, very physically healthy, dies of lung cancer. And she's like, this makes no sense. Like, he didn't smoke, he didn't drink, what's going on? And she starts to notice that her children, either they have eczema or they have asthma. Her neighbor's children is the same thing. The air doesn't really smell that great in her neighborhood. And now she's making these observations and saying, I need to investigate and question this. So after gathering all this information from her community members, she starts to engage with the CHA, and through further investigation, she finds out that the Altgeld Gardens neighborhood was built on a toxic dump. So you had companies like Ford Motor Company, Sherman Williams, and a number of other Chicago industries dumping in this area before they turned it into a housing authority development. So from that, she's like, oh no, we're not gonna do this. So she founded her own organization, People for Community Recovery, in 1979. Now let me remind you, this is 3 years before we get the whole thing in Warren County in North Carolina. So she is a precursor to that. So with this organization, she's exposing this negligence of the government. She's confronting CHA. She's confronting Chicago City Council like, hey, why are you allowing this pollution to reign in our communities? And she's fighting for repairs and cleanup. She's working with other environmental justice organizations in Chicago and in Illinois abroad to fight this basically environmental racism. And she's doing this with a very small team from her neighborhood in the early 80s and 90s. So these protests, this organization, she gets people start to hear about her, and they want to bring her in front of the Clinton administration in 1993. So when that happens, she testifies in front of the Clinton administration. I'm pretty sure you can find the testimony video on YouTube. And she's basically saying, y'all need to start caring about low-income neighborhoods. They are dumping pollution. There's noise pollution in our neighborhoods, and that's not fair. So this testimony is later used in the passage of the Executive Order 12898, which places racial justice foremost in the federal government's environmental mission. And so from that point on, 1993 up into her death in 2011, she serves as the executive director of PCR. And as of today, her daughter holds that position. And they hold to the legacy and advocacy and the pride that Hazel M. Johnson had for her community and for the environment as a whole. Now we're going to get to, this isn't her nickname, this is the nickname I gave her, the auntie of the movement. So we fast forward almost a decade later, and you get Peggy Shepard. She's the first African-American beat reporter of the Indianapolis News. She decides she doesn't want to do that anymore. She moves to New York City in 1971. She starts engaging with the city government and environmental activism. She works in the Democratic Assembly district. She becomes the Democratic Assembly district leader for West Harlem in the late 80s. She's discovering the same thing that Hazel was doing. She's finding all this pollution, all this noise pollution. Kids can't breathe, they got eczema, and she's seeing all these things. And she decides with 6 other people, we're going to protest this sewage plant. They're trying to build a sewage plant, which is like maybe 2-3 miles away from predominantly Black and Latino community in West Harlem. She's like, we're not going to do this. They perform an act of civil disobedience where these 7 people chain themselves to the entrance of the construction of this sewage plant, and they become known as the Sewage 7. And she forms We Act for Environmental Justice in 1988. She begins to lead activism against New York City over the sewage plant, securing funding and settlements. She took the city to court twice and won. 1992, the mayor allocates $55 million for an odor abatement plan. And again, in 1993, we have a 1.1 million settlement for all of the residents in West Harlem. Now, in 1993, that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. She expands We Act reach into youth advocacy and pollution campaigns. We Act continues to this day, working with national and international organizations for environmental justice, such as the EPA, the Transit Workers Union, the National Resource Defense Council. She organizes academic collaboration with Columbia University students and her organization, and she currently serves as the principal investigator at the Columbia Center for Children Environmental Health and is a board member of the New York League of Conservation Voters. So these 2 women, we can say, are the mother and the auntie of the movement. And now I'm gonna pass it back to Leah for the next slide.
All right, everybody. So now we're going to get into the work of Dr. Dorsetta Taylor, and she's known for her scholarship around environmental privilege. Dr. Dorcetta Taylor is a leading American environmental sociologist. Currently, she holds the position of Senior Associate Dean of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at Yale School of the Environment and is a professor of environmental justice. Dr. Taylor began her academic journey in 1983, earning her bachelor's degree from Northeastern Illinois University. She made history as the first African-American woman to earn a doctoral degree from Yale School of Forestry and Environmental Studies. Her research spans environmental history, policy, and race relations. Since 1989, Dr. Taylor has been at the forefront of exposing and addressing racial exclusion within the environmental movement. Her notable works include The Environment and the People in American Cities and The Rise of American Conservation Movement. She has pioneered the concept of environmental privilege, highlighting the unequal distribution of environmental benefits and burdens. Her influential book, Toxic Communities, Environmental Racism, Industrial Pollution, and Residential Mobility, has been pivotal in shaping the discourse on environmental justice and advocating for policy changes to promote inclusivity. Before joining Yale, Dr. Taylor served as the Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at the University of Michigan School of Environment and Sustainability. Her dedication to promoting diversity and inclusivity in the environmental field continues to inspire meaningful change. Dr. Dorcetta Taylor stands as a trailblazer in environmental sociology with a career marked by groundbreaking research, advocacy for environmental justice, and a commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Her work serves as a critical foundation for ongoing efforts to create a more inclusive and equitable environmental movement. And Z, did you want to share what exactly the definition of environmental privilege is?
Yes. So environmental privilege is a term coined by Dr. Dorcetta Taylor in her book, The Rise of the American Conservation Movement, in which she's explaining the difference between environmental justice and climate justice and the conservation movement, and how they are both different class-wise and race-wise and mission-wise. But environmental privilege is basically saying there's a certain level of advocacy and concern in low income neighborhoods versus affluent, predominantly white neighborhoods. So it's basically almost saying environmental racism, but looking at it from a lens of class rather than just race. And this term comes out and is used in further research when we're talking about COVID-19 and the disparities in access to the vaccine in low income neighborhoods versus higher income neighborhoods, and so on and so forth. Great book. You should check it out.
And I'm going to pass it back to Z to get into this section of the presentation.
All right, we're traveling to Louisiana and down in the bayou with two of these lovely ladies right here. Dr. Beverly Wright is a native of New Orleans. She is also from that same area known as Cancer Alley. Both of these women are from this area. Cancer Alley just means that within a certain section of New Orleans, there are a high level of pollution in this neighborhood because you have factories that are just dumping whatever they're making. The byproduct is just going into the sewage and the water of these neighborhoods. And in these neighborhoods, you see a higher level of cancer diagnosis, mostly predominantly Black neighborhood. So she's been dedicated to addressing the environmental injustice along Cancer Alley. She's actually a sociologist. She graduated from Grambling State University, shout out HBCUs, and State University of New York at Buffalo. She founded the Deep South Center for Environmental Justice, also known as the DSCEJ, in 1992 at another beautiful HBCU, Dillard University, investigated the impact of environmental inequality along the Lower Mississippi River Industrial Center. She's empowered communities through initiatives like environmental justice curriculum in K-12 schools, supported African-American communities in New Orleans post-Hurricane Katrina, and she highlighted within her research and her activism the lead exposure disparities and lead initiatives for environmental restoration. Her notable works include Race, Place, and the Environment After Hurricane Katrina. She's a recipient of prestigious awards, including the Robert Wood Johnson Community Health Leadership Award and the EPA Environmental Justice Achievement Award. She is currently serving as a member of the White House Environmental Justice Advisory Council under President Biden, and she is the leading force in driving meaningful change towards equitable and sustainable futures for marginalized communities. Next, this woman is amazing. Sharon Levain, lifelong resident of St. James Parish and daughter of civil rights activists. She founded Rise St. James in October of 2018, a grassroots environmental organization such as ours, started with 10 members meeting in her living room, and they decided that they are going to protest this plastic plant that is coming to the neighborhood. They decide to go to these council meetings. They're getting signatures. They're going to public hearings and saying, we do not want this plastic plant here. They're raising awareness about health and environmental impacts, existing densities of industrial plants, and engaging with the community through door-to-door visits, town hall meetings, expert presentations, and media campaigns. Later on in the year 2018, going into 2019, they lobbied council members and government officials urged reconsideration of permits and moratoriums on the new industrial construction. All of this work, this fight, this community organizing, it leads to all these communities coming together under the leadership of Sharon Levain, and they are able to stop the construction of a plastic plant. $1.25 billion construction plant in 2019, of September 2019. And she was able to stop the construction of another plant a few months later. She's recognized with the prestigious accolade of the 2022 Laterre Medal and the 2021 Goldman Environmental Prize. Yes. Now we're going to pass it on to Leah again to get us with the new cats of the EJ movement.
Yes, this is partially like one of my favorite things that we covered in this presentation, talking about the next generation, because they're really going to be pushing this movement forward. So we've got Leah Thomas, also known as Green Girl Leah. She's an American environmental activist, active on Instagram, whose work focuses on the application of intersectionality to environmental justice. Thomas grew up in St. Louis, Missouri, 10 minutes from where the shooting of Michael Brown by police happened. She found no one was talking about the intersection of environmental and social injustices, such as the Flint, Michigan water crisis, where 57% of the population is Black. She gained notoriety after an Instagram post of hers that used the phrase intersectional environmentalism and called for environmental activists to support Black Lives Matter in the wake of the murder of George Floyd. She runs Intersectional Environmentalist, a website targeted towards people interested in the relationship between the environment and social justice. She's the author of The Intersectional Environmentalist, How to Dismantle Systems of Oppression to Protect People and Planet, which provides advice to environmental activists and describes theories of relationship between race, privilege, social justice, and the environment. Thomas advocates for climate change activists to adopt anti-racist approaches in order to facilitate an intersectional environmental movement. Next, we've got Mary Copeney, aka Little Miss Flint. She's best known for raising awareness about the Flint water crisis and for fundraising to support underprivileged children in her community and across the country. When Copeney was 8 years old, she wrote a letter to President Barack Obama in order to draw attention to the water crisis in her hometown of Flint, Michigan. Her letter prompted a response from the president, who said that letters from kids like you are what make me so optimistic about the future. On May 4th, 2016, Obama visited Flint to see closer up the devastation to the lives of Flint citizens as a result of their lead-poisoned water supply. The visit contributed to nationwide awareness of the city's critical situation. Obama eventually authorized $100 million to fix the crisis. Since then, measures have been taken to help eradicate the problem, but effects continue to be felt by Flint's residents, and necessary repairs to infrastructure will not be complete until 20. I'm not sure about the date on my script if it's correct, because I know that this is an ongoing problem in Michigan for Flint residents. So Mary has still continued her work in an effort to keep Flint's continuing struggles in the public eye and to provide still needed safe water. In 2018, Copeney and Pack Your Backpack teamed up again for the Little Miss Flint and PYB Water Drive. And that was a GoFundMe crowdfunding effort to raise money for bottled water, as the state's free bottled water program for Flint residents had been discontinued by Michigan Governor Rick Snyder. Close to $50,000 was raised during the month-long campaign, enough for over 200,000 bottles of water. In 2019, Copenhagen started a new donation campaign, the Little Miss Flint Clean Water Fund, partnering with Hydroviv, a water filtration company, allowing the fundraiser to maximize the impact of donated funds and to eliminate the single-use plastic waste associated with bottled water. She met her initial goal of 100,000 in September 2019 and has subsequently met goals of 250K in June 2020 and 500K on Earth Day 2021. Her fundraiser continues with her new goal of $1 million because so many communities across the country need filters to have clean water across the country, while water infrastructure is being updated. As of September 2023, the Little Miss Flint Clean Water Fund has raised over $859,000 for Flint and other communities that suffer from the lack of clean water. And lastly, we've got Diamond Spratling. Diamond Spratling is the founder of Girl Plus Environment and Millennials for Environmental Justice, two organizations that advocate for racial, environmental, and health equity for BIPOC communities. Her upbringing on the west side of Detroit influenced her decision to become an environmental justice activist. Her community was constantly exposed to poor air quality and noise pollution, but no one wanted to confront or question these problems. This longing for answers led her to studying environmental policy and later starting Girl Plus Environment, a national nonprofit organization created to better educate, engage, and empower Black and Brown girls, women, and non-binary individuals to stand up for environmental justice in their own neighborhoods. This Detroit native and two-time TEDx speaker has spent more than 6 years at the intersection of environmental justice and health equity. Her strong dedication to the sector has earned her the William H. Sturtner Memorial Award in 2017, as well as the Elmore Manufacturing Award in 2018. Ms. Spratling has supported many environmental and health initiatives for cities and organizations across the globe, such as the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, Bloomberg Associates, WaterAid Cambodia, Climate Advocacy Lab, City of Atlanta, and GreenLink Analytics. She also founded Millennials for Environmental Justice as a way to advocate for her environmental and social justice. Its mission is to help dismantle disparities in health, community development, food security, and economic development, recognizing that all 4 issues are contingent on our social, physical, and built environments. M4EJ empowers Black and Brown communities by providing them with the tools and resources to stand up against environmental injustices in their own neighborhoods. That was a lot of information that we just presented to you all. So we do want to have a quick Q&A and give you guys the room to have some dialogue about what we've discussed so far, and take any general questions or just conversations you guys want to have. Thank you so much, Blythe.
Y'all did a great job. That was amazing.
I know. I just learned so much. I'm like, wow. It's a lot to unpack in that short amount of time. You all put so much information in there. Thank you.
Indeed. Thank you, Sherry. Great job. Thanks for the information. James Perch said, grateful to learn about these trailblazers. All right. If there's no Q&A, nobody else, we got
I had a question for the presenters. As y'all were researching, you in particular, Zion, was there anybody whose story that you resonated with your, personal story? In organizer land, we like to tell our stories, right? Is there anybody's story who resonated with you because of where you grew up, or what your experiences have been since you've been involved with EJ?
You want me to go first? You said both presenters, but never mind. It's okay. I really loved reading about Hazel M. Johnson, with her being from the South, and Mississippi and Louisiana are basically cousins. And it's a wonderful story to look and dive deep into, because this woman was tackling the government. Like, she was going to CHA meetings and saying, what y'all doing, it's totally wrong, and y'all do not care about us. There's a clip that I used for one of our social media posts at her at a town meeting, and she's basically calling them out, saying, why do we have to beg y'all to care? And she made it so plain. It almost reminded me of Fannie Lou Hamer, like, with just this strong Black Southern woman stepping to the man being like, hey, y'all need to do something about this. And she did not care for pleasantries or trying to negotiate. Like, no, what you're doing is wrong. And she also brought research with her and personal accounts from her neighborhood. And she wasn't half stepping. And so reading about her was very inspirational. It reminded me of the women that I grew up around. And it was inspiration for me to, keep doing my thing. Like, I don't have to talk to you in a certain way in order for you to understand human decency. So, yeah, Hazel was one of the most interesting stories to look at.
And I think for me, it has to be Little Miss Flint, Mari, because I'm only 6 years older than her, and she's someone that I've seen the entire time that she's been doing her work. And again, like what we've talked about throughout this entire presentation is like Black women and even Black children rising up out of necessity to communicate their needs because their government doesn't want to do what's right. And, we could talk all day about the systematic causes of why why we have to have these conversations and why environmental justice work is so important, especially for people of color, especially for Black communities. But I think I just see myself and Mari, and it's been really awesome to see her work, especially because she's in high school doing this stuff, I feel like if we all think about our own high school experiences, like in theory, I was an activist, but I wasn't, an activist in practice, just in my mind. So to see someone that young, getting out there, and not only is she getting out there, but she's crowdfunding and raising money and raising support for something that's really important. I think it's really awesome.
I see that there's a raised hand, and we're about to go into the second part of this, but
Hi, I just wanted to say that the presentations that have gone on make me feel like I've done nothing. I think that the the power of these women is so commendable, and is very, very inspiring. So I just wanted to say thank you to all of them and all of you for bringing all of this valuable information to me. Thank you so much. And
Thank-
I was driving, so coming out of work, so I tried to get in on the computer because I'm back in at home, but I'm still in the waiting room. So if somebody can make that adjustment, that would be great.
see. Hey, Yoke, go ahead.
Yeah, hello. I thank you again for the presentation, and I concur with what the previous attendee said. Um, I I feel a little bit ashamed because I have noticed environmental degradation in previous neighborhoods I've lived in, but I haven't really stepped up to the plate because it's just so focused on your own personal situation and making money and surviving, but really have to think about the community as a whole and the health of the community. And since I've studied public health, I've been doing that. And I just really commend these activists for stepping up to the plate and doing that. But yeah, it's very inspiring. And thank you so much.
Thank you. If there aren't any last minute questions, we will have some more time for some back and forth and Q&A. I'm going to pass it over to Z to introduce our special guest that we have on the meeting.
Yes, it's me back again. So, this woman, as I was doing my research, I was originally doing a category called Hometown Heroes, and that included Dr. McLean. And I ran across this article from the SCLC, and I was like, wait, they're going up against a recycling plant? And it's just them? Like, I was blown away. And so I took it upon myself. I was like, you know what? She right down the road. I can call her and see if she wants to come. And I'm so grateful for Miss Renee for coming to share her story um, and about the details around this fight against Metro Green recycling. And I'm not gonna introduce her because she's actually here. And so, Miss Renee, how you doing?
I'm doing well. As I told you earlier, I have my job sent me to Rhode Island, helping with this disaster, and it's been pretty hectic, and I was afraid I wasn't even going to be able to join you, but I said I'm going to do this if I have to do it from the car. So I'm just happy. I'm elated to be here. Um, and like I said, the women that have gone that you've mentioned before, I was like, wow, I haven't done anything. This is it's just so powerful. And I appreciate the invitation. I really do.
Of course, and you have them. You're going against a whole recycling plant. Like, what are you saying? Like this is really taking it to the man. I'm sorry for my excitement, but it's just cool. This is something that I do on a daily as a public historian, so it's wonderful to talk to you. And I'm just gonna give you the 3 questions, or if you want me to do it one at a time, it's up to you.
One at a time is good. One at a time is good. That'll help me stay focused and stop and won't ramble and go all over the place. So that's a
Of
big help.
course,
So one at a time is fine.
yes. So question number 1: how did you organize your community to fight against Metro Green recycling?
This is probably something we did out of the box. And you probably won't even believe what happened. Months before Metro Green even came into existence, I heard somebody say, Renee, somebody is bringing something. Nobody knew what it was. So I went to the city council, to the Stonecrest City Council, because our city is very new, it's like 7 years old. And so we were concerned about the development coming to Stonecrest, which used to be unincorporated Lithonia / DeKalb County, Georgia. So when I went to the city council, they said, oh, nothing's coming, nothing's coming. You know, I was relaxed. And then I would go to the city council meetings to hear what projects were coming. And all of a sudden we hear about Metro Green. And there were 2 ladies we were in the chat talking back and forth because everybody was upset. And I decided I need to meet these 2 ladies. One was Piper and one was Jennifer. And I went on Facebook, I couldn't find them. So one of Doreen Carter, who's a state representative, emailed me maybe a week or so later. She said, you 3 need to get together. So what happened, we met and we decided to inform the people in the neighborhood about the Metro. It's called Metro Green 3 Recycling / Material Recovery Center. So the first thing we did was try our best to educate people. And a lot of times our people are not engaged. They don't know what's going on at the city hall because they don't go to the city council meetings. So we did something very old fashioned. We printed up flyers, and there was one lady who had put some signs on a pole. She said, they're tearing down trees. What is this coming? And so when we got with her, we were able to uh, meet with people who are members of Chase. We got up real early on Saturday mornings and we started pinning flyers on people's mailboxes because sometimes older people don't have computers. Some of them feel like they're not computer savvy. So when you get on the street walking, you begin to meet people and dialogue with them. And people were like, what? What is that? And then we explain. So you do educating as you walk and as you talk. The trees started coming down, and then we found out that they had applied for, these permits, the air permit, the water sewer permit, all the permits they applied for. And what we did is encourage people to come to the city council meetings, protest this facility in the middle of an predominantly African-American community. So when they started building it, the dust, the noise, the trucks, people's, one lady came to me, she said, my house is cracking. I mean, it was just a nightmare. And then they built this dirt wall very, very high so the neighbors could not see into this area where they were. So it took a lot of collaborating with people that had environmental justice organizations. There was one EJ group that I knew of, and I was introduced to them. But basically, Chase emailed, we walked the streets, we put signs up, we had protests. We had a protest where the mayor was having a meeting, and it was during COVID. It was a very, very chaotic time because, as you know, COVID was here. People were scared to get together, so we did a car protest, and we drove past the mayor's window and we tooted our horns and made noise. He was so irritated, but we continued to mobilize and organize ourselves. And to this day, that same group of women, we still meet, and we are still in this fight against Metro Green. And so that's how it began. That's how the battle began.
Whoa.
And we did get some state reps who did come to some of the protests. So it's definitely been a journey. And as we organized SCLC, we have a website, a Facebook page, and SCLC saw the Facebook page. We met with SCLC, Blue Ridge Environmental Defense League, who I organized for. Also, lended their support if we needed it. So the battle still goes on. Metro Green, Stonecrest, the city of Stonecrest, we put so much pressure on the city that we wanted them out of our neighborhood, that the Stonecrest, who allowed them in and gave them a consistency letter, and they didn't have a solid waste management plan because DeKalb County controls all of that. They still were given a permit by EPD, and they misrepresented some things when they applied for the permit, but EPD still issued it. So they have an illegal permit. And we put a lot of pressure on Stonecrest. We went to the meetings, we wrote letters, we went to the public comments. It's very important that we get our neighbors engaged and get people engaged because we have to protect each other. So we are still, in contact with the city council. And at one point, we won an injunction against Metro Green where they could not work. Metro Green appealed our injunction. They went to the appellate court. The appellate court basically didn't even read the case. They shot down our injunction. And then Stonecrest also, let me back up a little bit. Stonecrest, initially, we raised so much sand, as my dad used to say. They filed a lawsuit against DeKalb County, Metro Green, and the Environmental Protection Division. And everybody was like, well, you're the ones that let them come in, now you're fighting them. So we did not have any standing at all with the case because Stonecrest filed a case. It went to the DeKalb County Superior Court, and the judge noticed that when Stonecrest filed a complaint against Metro Green, they didn't mention environmental harm to the community. So this was something kind of unprecedented, and probably most people don't do. I called people while the hearing was going on, and I said, you guys send some letters into the judge quick. We started writing letters, emailed them to her case manager, and the judge obviously got them because the next hearing that took place, she said, I can't respond to the letters that I received, but she said to Stonecrest, why didn't you mention environmental harm? So at that point, and I'll talk about SCLC because Zion's going to mention SCLC. At that point, we were trying to figure out how can we get into this case. And that's where it began with SCLC. Zion, you can, ask that question and then I can talk about that as well.
Of course, I'm following you. So, how has the partnership with SELC, which is the Southern Environmental Law Center, for those who don't know, how have they come into play with this case?
The partnership with SCLC has been such an awesome experience. We've created a bond of trust and of resiliency. We've learned a tremendous amount of strategic planning and patience because we get upset. SCLC, the attorneys that we have are very, very, they're just very knowledgeable and very down to earth. They answer questions. If we need something, we will email them or call them. They'll get right back to us. So a lot of people have feelings about lawyers, and I have some about some lawyers, but these two lawyers that have worked with us on this case are such a tremendous support. And I think they were intrigued with this case because they said Metro Green didn't think you were going to do anything. And a lot of these corporations get away with literally murder. So it has created a partnership that we'll probably always have. I went to speak at the Surge conference in October last year. They're always very resourceful. If something comes up, they say, "Well, do y'all want to apply for this?" So it's been great. SCLC has very good attorneys. I don't know if all of them are as dedicated as April and Bob, but it's been awesome. So I could go on and on about that. But anyway, let me tell you this part I forgot to mention. We were not a part of the case when Stonecrest felt we were pressuring them so much that they had to do something. They sued Metro Green, they sued DeKalb County, they sued EPD. We talked with the lawyers for SCLC and we talked about amicus brief, which we were going to try to write, which probably would have taken us forever. But then there's something called a motion to intervene. Mm-hmm. And so they did a motion for us to intervene into the case. We didn't know if the judge would accept it, but she did. And that's how we became a part of the case. So Stonecrest and Chase, now we work together to do our best to get Metro Green out of the community. Metro Green sued Chase in 2022. They filed what's called a SLAPP lawsuit, SLAPP. And they sued us for trespassing. They sued us for tortious behavior. They sued us for interfering with business and contracts. And they sued us for slander, which they lost all of them because they weren't telling the truth. Mm-hmm. So that's something else we had to deal with, our group. So, and when I went to this Surge conference, somebody asked me, how did you all feel when they filed those lawsuits? I said, we were scared at first because we didn't know what a SLAPP lawsuit was. And then we finally got angry and we said, so what? We'll just fight them on that as well. So the judge threw out every one of those lawsuits. And so, again, our relationship with SCLC is really strong.
Yeah, I was reading that part because there's if you want to check out the story in more detail, there's articles on SCLC's website that details what's going on as of today. And reading that, I was like, are they really going to pull this? And this is a law that a lot of corporations have used in Georgia because apparently Georgia is kind of like lax when it comes to corporations, so they try to find a loophole. And so to see y'all say, "Well, we're gonna do an anti-slap lawsuit," was incredible. But um, the last question, um, where do where do y'all stand now? Because with the articles, they only went up into uh last fall in September, I believe was like the last article that was published. So obviously things are still happening and whatnot. So where do y'all stand now within this fight against Metro Green? And how can we as fellow EJ fighters, how can we help you in this battle?
Well, when they when the injunction was killed or dismissed, Metro Green, Stonecrest, SELC met with Stonecrest. Stonecrest lawyers filed an appeal. They appealed Metro Green's the fact that our injunction was shot down. And so it went to the appellate court, Chase and Stonecrest against Metro Green, and we were hoping by appealing it, they would instill the injunction again, reinstate the injunction. And the appellate court did not um, reinstate the injunction. So we, along with Stonecrest, filed an appeal to the Georgia State Supreme Court. We waited like 4 or 5 months, never heard anything. And recently, they declined to take the case. But we know how the political system is in Georgia. The lawyers, legislators, they all kind of hang together. And so it wasn't surprising that the Supreme Court of Georgia they declined to take the case, which means the case was dismissed. So our case is not pending anymore. It's gone with them. But I told the lawyers SCLC attorneys, I said, well, back in 21, their business license, Metro Green's business license expired, and their certificate of occupancy was not granted either. So now they have no business license. They have no certificate of occupancy. So they're really not supposed to be in the building, and they don't have a business license. So now our strategy has been what we do is we go to the city council, we write letters asking the city council not to grant them a business license. That's where we are now. And we ask them not to grant them a certificate of occupancy because they violated the zoning ordinances and laws. That's why they don't have the certificate of occupancy. They have not followed the rules. So we have a letter writing campaign. I encourage people, we go to public comments, we launch protests, and when COVID hit, we spread out chairs on Miller Road and we sat in those chairs so people wouldn't get sick. And we had a sit down, shout out protest in front of Metro Green. We had a couple of them in front of Metro Green. And so what we do, we go to the city council meetings because you definitely can speak there. And I always tell people, you have a voice, you're a leader. Don't feel like you have to have a degree to speak out for your community because you don't. We are currently going to continue to ask that they deny Metro Green a business license and deny a certificate of occupancy. And we're not sure of what the city council is going to do, but we continue to pressure them because we want them out of the neighborhood. So the last city council meeting was heated. People came in with letters. They did public comments. We want them out of our neighborhood. They never should have been in our neighborhood. They have an illegal permit. We just went on and on and on. So strangely, Metro Green submitted a letter to public comments during that meeting. Oh, we want to meet with the community. We're good neighbors. And I spoke with the attorneys. I said, we don't want to talk with them. We don't want to negotiate anything. All we want is one thing, and that's what we're sticking to. Get out of our neighborhood. And that's where we are at this point. We want them out of the neighborhood, and we're not going to stop until we can't go any further. And that's our Metro Green story. And interestingly, the ladies that live near Metro Green, they'll text me or they'll call, they say, Renee, we heard noises over there. So something has been going over there. And you guys might think this is really bizarre. I bought a drone. I'm scared to fly it over there because I don't want it to land in their yard. But another one of the ladies over at Miller Road has a drone. So we got about 3 of them. We're getting ready to take a drone class. So we'll keep you we'll
What?
keep you posted. We'll keep
Come
you
on,
posted.
Call of Duty.
We are going to learn how to fly these drones. Mine probably has dust because I charged it, but I was scared to try to fly it because I don't know the ins and outs. So that's where we are. We're also, the beauty of this thing, this whole entire thing is the bond that we have created with the people who live near Metro Green, people who don't live near I live about 11 minutes away. So it's like we've got a new family. And so we put our talents and our skills together. Some of them are good with social media. I'm not. And so they help me with that. But the key to it all, because people keep asking me, Renee, how did you all do that? Get on the ground and talk to folks. It's key because people think you don't care. They know that the higher ups don't really care. A lot of them don't. I don't want to put everybody in one category, but dialogue with your neighbors. We have educational uh, little seminars at the library to talk about biomass. See, excuse me, Metro Green is not our first battle. Back in 2009, the reason we came together, they were going to put a $62 million biomass plant in the middle of Lithonia, the city of Lithonia. And we were like, what is biomass? So when we did our research, we fought them for 4 years until they finally left. That's another story in itself. We have fought asphalt plants, cement plants. What else? They wanted to put a slaughterhouse in Lithonia. They wanted to put, it's always something that's polluting and dirty. That's not going to help us. And that's why I tell people, we don't want the people over in Louisiana, they have to battle Cancer Alley is something that really upsets me, or the problems in Michigan with the water. So we have to stick together and fight for our communities. We moved here for a reason, not for people to come in and say, we're putting this in your community. You don't live here and you don't have biomass plants in your community. You don't have petrochemical plants in your community. I'm in Rhode Island, and most of the area where the residents are, you don't see manufacturing plants. I did see an industrial area and houses near it, but they probably don't even know the detrimental side of that. So that's what's going on with Chase at this time.
I'm sorry, Adrian, this phrase has to come out of my mouth. Y'all bought drones.
Yes, we have.
That
We have drones. There's 3 of us. One, see, Piper has one. I have one. Jen has one. Yeah, 3 of us have drones, and we have
that's
somebody.
gangster. That's just like for real. Like we're
You
not
want to see?
taking no for an answer. Like it's this is beautiful. And don't downplay yourself, Miss Renee. Y'all are fighting. Y'all been fighting, and it shows. So just staying persistent and consistent with this fight is gonna go a long way. Like you're really doing it, Miss Renee. Like you're really doing it.
Well, it's definitely been a journey, and maybe I shouldn't have mentioned the drones, but um, shoot, everybody else is flying, and we need to see how to fly ours. But
Exactly.
just oh my goodness, it's just unbelievable what we have to deal with. It's just oh my goodness. And if you all have any questions, these developers, I'm telling you, they come with a story. Oh, we'll give you jobs and we're gonna do this. Mm-mm.
There's
No.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I just wanted to bring attention to the chat. There is a first question. So I don't know if y'all see it. It's from Sherry. And if Sherry wants to come off.
Hi, I was just wondering. So I see you all filed all this. Do you work with the law firm, or who?
We have a law firm representing us, but they're
Oh,
from
okay. I was just
SCLC.
SCLC. Okay, I was just wondering. I'm an attorney here, but I'm in Douglasville, and I was just like, wow, I recognize the motion to intervene, and I'm like, okay. So SCLC is here. It's local in Atlanta, the law firm,
Yes,
or
it's in Atlanta. They're in several
Right.
they do work in several states. They have hundreds of lawyers.
They're the Southern Environmental Law Center, so they
Mhm.
pick. You can kind of think of them almost like a ACLU, but for environmental cases in
Mhm.
the South.
Mhm.
Oh wow,
Um,
that's awesome.
so, and
I
the young lady in Douglasville, please put your information in the chat. I know another group that needs an environmental, they need an attorney. I don't think SCLC took their case. I don't know who contacted them, but people ask me a lot, do I know any environmental attorneys? And a lot of the attorneys that are
you know
environmental
um
attorneys, huh?
oh no, I was just gonna say, when I was in law school back in like 2000, I took the environmental justice class, but that's how long ago it's been. I I don't have any recent experience in environmental law or environmental justice, but I do have contact with one of my professors. I went to law school. I went to Texas Southern Thurgood Marshall School of Law, and we
Mm-hmm.
used to have a environmental justice program, but they shut that down.
Oh,
Because the law
wow.
students were taking cases. I don't know, it got defunded or something, but that I don't know when it stopped, but I can share it. I'll share it with Adrian. Do you want me to Adrian, I'll share that with you.
That'll be
Okay.
great. Thank you.
Wow. I have to say, Mr. Renee, we had our family home in Lithonia off of Wesley Chapel, Snapfinger Road.
Mm-hmm.
So we lost it in the 2008 housing crash.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but and then my family moved to Snellville. And
Mm-hmm.
so but yeah, like just growing up over there, and Sherry put her information in the chat.
Wonderful.
And so just growing up over there, I do remember being young, and because my brother helped raise me. So I remember being over there and being an undergrad and coming home. Like that is like that area, like what people don't know, that Lithonia, that area, that's like an activist area, because I remember they tried to build a hotel on Wesley Chapel. Well, on Snapfinger Road. I think it was Snapfinger Road. And people were out protesting then. So when you were saying that, I was just like, that sounds familiar.
But you know what? I still have my T-shirt from that. They wanted to build it's where the trucks come, a truck stop and hotel, and we were like, no. I
Yes,
said,
that's, oh my
I
God. I
I still have
remember
my
that.
T-shirt.
You were one of the activists.
Yes.
It makes sense. I was
Yeah,
just
they were
young, and
crazy. We were.
I remember you all protesting. We were like, dang. And y'all stopped that hotel from being built.
That was insane. You're gonna put a hotel at the top of Panola Road, Snapfinger? Are you kidding me? So
Indeed.
I can't believe I still have that old T-shirt, but I had to leave because my mother got sick in Massachusetts. So I remember that. I sure do.
Oh my gosh.
Hmm.
That is
Hmm.
so dope. And Blythe stated that she lives over there right now. They live over there. This is my neck of the woods now. That's such important history to know about. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
and over there we are in 2018, this trucking company was trying to put a truck park over there. There's a lot of
Yeah.
them on 124. We fought those guys.
Y'all sure did.
We fought them, and we fought them several months ago, maybe almost a year ago,
Oh, wow.
again.
Again?
And they were trying to put another one there. That one, they were going to put it on Bruce Street near the doggone senior center.
Oh my gosh.
And we
No.
were like, no, we gave them a fit. And so by God's grace, we were able to get rid of them. So I'm hoping that the developers will take this garbage somewhere else. They just don't seem to have any scruples or any compassion for wrecking neighborhoods. I don't know. It's a bit much.
It's very common. Wow.
Hmm.
This was amazing. I'm gonna stop asking questions and see. I'm putting myself on mute, so because I have so many questions, we need to just meet with you. And can I just ask one more question? Zion did ask, is there any way that we could participate and help?
Yes, as a matter of fact, we just sent, and I'll send it to you. We're having this is a long shot, but we sent out a flyer. We're requesting that the senators in DeKalb County and the state representatives in DeKalb County who are running and who are incumbents, all of them, we sent them an invitation to have a roundtable discussion on April 21st, 24th from 6 to 8. And we were hoping community activists would come. So I will send you the flyer, and hopefully you can come to that. And then we can dialogue more about helping with Metro Green, and also if you guys need help with something, we can join with you. Collaboration works. It really does.
Thank you so much. Yes, yes.
You're very welcome.
I want to thank everybody for their awesome contributions tonight, especially you, Miss Renee. Thank you so much for being on and sharing your story. And I wanted to ask if there were any last minute questions before we wrap up tonight's presentation. Got a few more minutes. All right, no takers. All right, we can go on to the next slide. So next steps. Join us at Carroll County NAACP's first environmental climate justice event on April 20th, Earth Day, from 9:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. We actually have Mr. James Perch on with us tonight. James, if you wanted to say any words about your upcoming event, SGF is going to be there to support, and we'd love for all of you guys to come out and join us. Maybe James stepped away, but here's the flyer and the QR code that we have on the screen right here. If you scan that, it'll give you more access and more information on this amazing event that's going to be taking place on Earth Day. I don't think that's a completed event, but it's going to be running from 9:30 a.m. until noon. So check us out.
have a question. How do you scan a QR code on your screen? Is there like an app that you scan it? You know how sometimes you all say scan it. I'm like, well, how do I scan it if I'm not putting my camera on the QR code?
If you're
You
on your
can usually use your phone. Oh, I'm sorry, Leah.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you're on your phone right now, like you're watching the presentation from your phone, you can screenshot of it and go into the gallery. I think one of the editing tools will allow you to actually like pick up the QR code from a screenshot if you have an iPhone. For Androids, I'm not too sure about that. But if you're watching at home on your computer and you have your phone handy, you can always take your camera and scan. And if your camera doesn't scan, I know there are a bunch of QR like reader apps that they have out there. But most Apple iPhones, you can just literally hover your camera in front of the QR code and it'll scan it.
Yeah.
And that's the same way for the Androids too. It's just if you're on your phone, no, you can't scan it while you're on your phone on the Zoom. So I don't know if you're on your phone, but if you're on your computer, you can use your Android to hover over it and just like you don't have to press the camera button, just hold your camera, open your camera and open it in front of the QR code and it should scan it.
Right. No, I was just wondering like on my phone how I can
Yeah.
do it. So, but I'll try it. I'm gonna figure this out. Thank
Yeah.
you.
And also,
Go ahead.
there's the address. The address is on there too, on the screen. If you're, well, the place where it's at, it's at Carroll County Climate Justice event. And
Right, and if you're on your phone on it, you can use your fingers to zoom it in with the screen.
yeah.
Yeah,
And then
John.
it's also, we just put it in the chat too. There we go.
Oh, okay. Good.
Also, we're going to be at West Atlanta Watershed. So we're kind of like dividing the team. So I don't know if you have a slide on that too, Leah.
I didn't. Just because I didn't.
Yes. Yeah, but we're going to be at West Atlanta Watershed. Leah, I think Leah and a couple of folks are going to that. What's that event?
It's Wawa's outdoor 1 second. It's their Urban Forest Outdoor Fest. And we're just gonna be there to support our friends at Wawa. So if you guys want to show up, definitely would encourage you guys to check out their Eventbrite and RSVP for that event. Yeah.
Yeah. So many people have something during Earth Day that we decided just to go and support our friends.
That's good.
Yes.
That's good.
Yes. And oh yeah, Ty just put it in so if you needed it, you can put it in there. And that's pretty much it. It's like, we're so happy. This was, hey, Z and Leah, y'all did an excellent job. Thank you. We have a new friend and new ally with this new organization, with this Miss Renee. Thank you so much for being at work and then coming on, and we tried to get you on screen and you did it from your phone. Thank you so much for doing that.
Thank you.
And we cannot wait to work with you. Yes.
I can't wait to work with you either. I think we're going to have a blast.
Indeed.
And
Thank you, Ruth. Excellent presentation. Yes, thank y'all so much. This is it. You know, we like to get it done, be efficient. And next month,
yes, next month CJEM, we're going to be building people power. We're going to be talking all about what that looks like. It's going to be a really fun presentation. So I'd encourage everybody to come out and just in advance kind of letting you guys know. So we're going to have our May CJEM and then we won't be having a CJEM in June. We're actually working on planning a Juneteenth 3-day event that's going to be awesome. And we'll definitely have some footage and something to share in June for you guys to be able to watch. I really appreciate everybody's collaboration and participation in today's CJEM. Looking forward to next month's.
It was really good.
Thank you.
Yes, thank y'all
Thanks
so
so much.
much.
Thank you all.
Yes, thank y'all all for coming.
Thank you, thank you.
Y'all have a great night.
You too.
Have a
Thank
great
you.
night.
Um,